Thank you to all of the volunteers, all of the department heads and the employees of the city of Baltimore, the state, and everybody that's here today. I have prepared a statement, but I don't need that. We all know what we're here to do. We're here to rally to make sure that every single person is counted in the city of Baltimore. And the census can't do it alone. They need your help, and we need everybody's help to get the word out. And I'm so excited and so thrilled to see so many people here. And we have to make sure that we get into every building in the city of Baltimore. We have to make sure that every homeless person is counted. We have to make sure that our immigrant community is counted. And we have to make sure that we let them know that information that they give will not be given to anyone other than the census. So don't be afraid to fill out your census form, and make sure that you get your neighbors and everybody else to fill out those forms. So again, thank you all for coming out, and I look forward to getting a great count. And I'm going to tell you something about this count. It's $1,800 per person, which equals $18,000 a year, which is very important because Baltimore is a poor city that really need that money for the programs that we need to run city government. So I'm encouraging everyone to spread the word. Let's get out there and make sure we get a great count. We cannot afford to lose any more legislative district from the city of Baltimore. So I'm excited, and I'm happy to be joined by Councilman Brandon Scott, and I have the commissioner here, and I can't pronounce that. But anyway, we have our CASA representative here, and I guess all of them going to have a word to say. I know the congressman is on his way, but I have the African American engagement that I have to go and speak at today. I had nothing but speaking engagements all day long. But anyway, I'm committed to getting the work done. I'm committed to making sure this city move forward. And I hope that I can count on you, because I can't do it by myself. I need all of you to help me do what I do. Thank you.
That's right.
Council ex officio president. I don't know these titles, because ex officio, what does that mean?
I have no idea.
Council President Sean Green Middleton.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor Young. As Mayor Young mentioned, this is just so important. It's about money. It's about, we're coming up for redistricting, which is very important. We could lose a senator. We could lose a delegate. This is just so important for everyone to be counted. We need all the people and all the money that we can get to help move this city forward. And I thank all of you for coming out and supporting. And also, just a little added note, I think we have the job van out there too for census jobs, which is important as well. So again, it's for all of us to rally together and get people counted. Thank you for coming.
All right.
Councilman Scott. But before I recognize Councilman Scott to come up to speak, I fail to recognize our great delegate, Delegate Smith, who also double duty as the deputy, the deputy director of planning. And I'm always glad to be in your presence. So thank you for a job well done.
All right.
Councilman Scott.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Since he's not here yet, I'm going to be the first to say it. The census is about counting. And we know that if we are not counted, our city will not count. This is about resources. This is about making sure that the city of Baltimore get what we rightly deserve. And since Congressman coming in here, I'll be the first to say that we have to get Lottie, Dottie, and everybody to be counted during the 2020 census. We do not care about citizenship. We don't care about anything. We want to count everybody. Baltimore is an inclusive city, and we want to make sure that we have the resources for everybody. So we have to count our children, our neighbors, our seniors. We're going to implore you to go out and make sure that everyone knows that this is not about tracking people other for the sake of making sure that we have the resources that we need in our city, and we know that we need an abundance of resources for all of our communities. So please make sure that everyone in your family is counted. Make sure that your neighbors are counted, the children down the street, the guy on the corner. We have to count everybody for the 2020 census, so thank you.
All right. All right. Thank you.
I want to recognize Jerome Stevens from Senator Cardin's office. Senator Cardin has always been on the forefront of helping us do all the wonderful things we do, and thank him on my behalf. At this time, I'll say Casa.
Buenas noches. Good evening, all of you. My name is Gustavo Torres from Casa. I'm so happy to be here. And I'm happy because the city welcomed the immigrant community every single time, every single day, every single night. So thank you so much. And we are going to work really hard with the city, Mayor. Very hard to make sure that our community is going to be counted. We have the commitment to work together in both in English and in Espanol to make sure that our community is going to be counted, because we truly believe that we are making a great contribution in this beautiful city and we deserve to be counted. We believe that it's very important that we as a community, we have a strong opportunity and message to send to everybody. That Latinos, immigrants, all residents of the city of Baltimore deserve to be counted. I just came from the Supreme Court this morning. As you know, this administration made a decision to introduce a question requesting the citizenship status of our communities. And you know the intention of that. The intention is to make sure that people of color, Latinos, immigrants, Black, African Americans are not going to be counted. That is the intention with this. They have the number. 6.5 million people are not going to be counted if that question is included in the census. The last time that that question was asked was in 1950, okay? Back to like 50, more than 60 years ago. And now this administration make a decision to include it again. And we believe that is an opportunity to send a message that we are not going to tolerate that. And that is the reason why CASA, with many civil rights organizations around the nation, sue the Trump administration and say this is called hate. It's called discrimination. And we are not going to accept that. So we are working really hard to make sure that we win this in the Supreme Court. I just want to tell you that in New York, we won. A judge in New York told us, you are right. That question is going to destroy the census. So that is the reason why we are here tonight, to let you know that yes, we have the commitment in our city that every single one of Latinos and immigrants are going to be counted. And at the national level, we also are taking the lead to make sure that we are going to stop that. So thank you very much. Mayor, thank you so much.
We've been joined by Councilman Burnett, but I want the commissioner to come up and have a few words, and then you'll have the final word.
Thank you, Mayor, for your leadership, Madam President, and to our fellow council members. As public safety is a high priority, this census is also a high priority. And at some point, they are connected, because it will be about resources and it will be about our ability to have success to make our city a safe city. We are one city, this is one team, and we speak with one voice. So let's make sure we all are counted. And thank you again.
We're going to ask Councilman Chris Burnett to come up, but I want to recognize Pete Hammond from the mayor's office, and I know that Planning Director, where is he? Okay, All right, our planning director is here, and various department heads are here. But I want to make sure that Chris is here. Yeah, okay. I don't know who all will be speaking because I got to roll out of here. But Councilman Burnett wants to have some words, and then after that, we're gonna get to work.
That's right. My apologies for being a little late, so I'll go ahead and keep my comments short and sweet. This is a big deal for Baltimore City. We need every dollar, we need every cent. As we go throughout the city and in our districts, and we hear about the need for more rec centers, we hear about the need for more infrastructure, we hear about the need for better housing and more support from the federal government. This is where it starts. And so we have a responsibility to go as hard as we can for this census, making sure that every voice is represented, every person, regardless of their nationality, of their origin, wherever they came from. We counting you, but we need your help. And so getting the word out, joining us. I know I'll be hitting the doors with our delegates in our council and under the leadership of ex officio Mayor Young and ex officio, I'm sorry, it's a lot, Sharon Middleton, under their our acting mayor and our acting vice president, and we're going to follow their lead, and we're going to fight, but we can't do it alone. We need your help. So make sure you get the word out. This is such a big deal. This is so important, y'all. And so I'll keep it short and sweet. We all have to play a role in this. I'm committed to making sure that District 8 is adequately represented, and the city of Baltimore is going to be represented strong as well. Thank you for everybody, and thank you for the opportunity, Mr. Mayor Young. Yeah.
And that means that we're going to every college campus in the city of Baltimore. If they're here for 4 years, they need to be counted as Baltimore citizens. So I'm hoping that we can get into these colleges and these apartment buildings, because we're going to count everybody. We're going to count our newscasters that are here 24/7, and we want to make sure that they're part of the census as well. Again, thank you, and let's get to work.
I am very pleased to be here with Jack Young. I understand he was here a little bit earlier, and certainly State Senator Mary Washington, who's doing an outstanding job. Our Maryland Department of Planning Director Chris Ryer, the Complete Count Committee, Drius, Mena, and of course Senator Barbara Mikulski will be joining us, I guess, by video, and to Delegate Stephanie Smith. Listen up. Ladies and gentlemen, this is one of the, listen up. Tell a person next to you to be quiet for only 1 minute. I agreed to be one of the honorary chairs of this census count effort because it's so important. When I became the chairman of the Oversight Committee, the New York Times, the Washington Post, and so many others asked me the question, what are your priorities? And I know that they expected my priority, my number one priority, to be something with regard to our president. But I told them my number one priority is the census. Yes. And there's a reason for that. Next year, we'll be doing the census. And it is estimated that everybody who is not counted, we lose about at least $1,800. That's a lot of money. And there's been an effort on the part of the Republican administration to put in a citizenship question. And that is to scare people away from participating. There has not been a citizenship question on the census since 1950. And in this time where we have an administration that has not been very friendly to our immigrant population, and those who are simply wanting to have a better life, they know that with that citizenship question in there, a lot of people will be afraid to participate. Am I right? Yes. And the thing that's so upsetting about all of this, Senator Washington, is that Wilbur Ross came before our committee and was not honest with us. He claimed that the citizenship question, he came up with it. He claimed that he came up with it. No, he claimed that the Justice Department came up with it. And come to find out, Steve Bannon came up with it. Come on now. And the excuse that they gave for having a citizenship question, are you ready for this? Was that they needed to have it to enforce the Voting Rights Act. Duh. When did this administration become an advocate of people voting? And as I often have said, this administration seems to think that we are blinded by what we see. And I've come by here to beg you to give every effort you have to telling Lottie, Dottie, and everybody to participate in the census. And the reason why I told the Washington Post and New York Times and others that it was the #1 priority is that the results will last and have an impact for the next 10 years. Those results will be used to decide our city council districts, our legislative districts, our congressional districts. I can go on and on. And without a proper count, we literally, while we have 8 members of Congress now, we could lose a member. And so we have got to do this, and we've got to do it right. And that's why Congressman Sarbanes, who just came in, and I have, we sit on the same committee. We continue to fight hard to make sure that we get it right. And so we're fighting on the federal level, but we need you to fight on the local level. We need you to get on the phone. We need you to get on social media and encourage people to please participate in the census. And to all the workers who will be doing this, I want to thank you. And by the way, if you have people that need a job and are serious about this, we need them to be participants too and get paid. Hello? And get paid. I'm serious about that. Listen up. There are a lot of people that don't have a job. But we need dependable people. We need honest people. We need people who take this thing very seriously because our lives depend upon it and representation depend upon it. And so again, I want to thank all of you for being here. And again, may God bless. And let's go out there and give it everything we've got. All right?
At this time, we want to give an opportunity for Congressman Sarbanes to also, I guess, piggyback on the charge of what we have to do here. So thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. And it's a privilege, as always, to follow Elijah Cummings, who is my chairman on the Oversight and Reform Committee. Nobody is fighting harder to make sure that every person in America is counted. It makes sense. It's perfectly natural that Elijah Cummings would be heading up the committee that has jurisdiction over the census and how it gets done, because he's someone who has fought for every person in this country every single day of his life. The census is a metaphor for what our democracy is all about. We count people every 10 years to make sure the power in our country is distributed to the people, but our democracy is about whether every person is counted, whether every single voice is heard. And so the census embodies that concept. That's why our founders insisted that we do that count every 10 years, because they understood that power would flow from Washington, from government, back to the people if you knew every citizen if you knew every person, if you knew every resident, and we're fighting right now over this question of who should be counted. We think everybody should be counted in this country. That's what the census is all about. But as Congressman Cummings said, and I'll emphasize one more time as I close, in the face of any obstacle that is thrown at us as we are trying to get the best, fullest count possible, we have to work together to make sure that happens. And this is the time for people to step up. There are opportunities to participate in the census, jobs that we need to fill to make sure that everybody in this country is counted. And I want to salute Congressman Cummings, former Senator Barbara Mikulski, for chairing this effort here in the state of Maryland and enlisting all of us, and I mean not just members of the delegation, but everybody in this room and others as well in this effort to make sure that the voice of every single American is counted and respected in our democracy. Thank you all for being here today.
Thank you, Congressman, for your remarks. Now we have an opportunity to hear from someone who's not only a state senator here in Baltimore City, but she actually served on the Baltimore Complete Count Committee in 2010, is returning in 2020 because she cares that much. So without further ado, Senator Mary Washington.
Thank you. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. It's great to see you here. And actually, in 2000, I was a census enumerator, and was a part of the project that we had a statewide project to really ensure that every single Marylander was counted. Good evening, everyone. How are you? Are you ready to work? Yes. We've talked about every 4 years we have an opportunity to have our voices heard, and we say stand up and be counted. And so now, as my colleagues just said, every 10 years we have an opportunity to stand up and get counted. But it's always vital that we do that. And for some of us, when we talk about it, was once upon a time we couldn't vote. Women couldn't vote. People of color couldn't vote. African Americans couldn't vote. White men that didn't own property couldn't vote under our original Constitution. And there was a time when many of us in the room were only counted as 3/5 of a person, right? 3/5 of a person. And so what we need to do is make sure that we show up for the census, that we be counted. And what's fun about it, it is actually fun because there's no politics really. There's no independent, Green Party, Republican. There's just a discussion of you are a part of this country. You are a part of this state. You are a part of Baltimore City. You live, work, love, play here. And those of us that are here need to stand up and be seen. There's a lot of discussion lately, and they're going to do more about how many people we're losing. Here's our opportunity to show how many people are staying, how many people love this town, how many people know that every time you throw something hard or a challenge at Baltimore, we rise to the occasion, and that it can never get so bad that we will throw each other under the bus, that we will forget that we are Baltimore, that we have a history, that we have farms, we have urban farms, we have playgrounds, we have schools, we have churches, we have hospitals, we have swimming pools. We have students here that come here to learn. They need to be counted. They're a part of this community. So I'm here to just rile you up and say, let's do this. We have a year. We have a year to talk to every single person and get excited about counting us. Take the focus away. We need to pay attention to what's going on nationally, but here's a chance to reflect on who we are as Baltimore City. We have an opportunity to show everyone who think they know what Baltimore City is. And look out among you. There's a lot of people that wouldn't think this is Baltimore City. But we get to see who we are, from the young people to the seniors, to the doctors, to the laborers, to everybody, to people who speak our language, to the 20 different languages that are spoken in our city. And we're going to do that. We're going to do that now. We're going to do that on April 1st. And for those of you who don't fill out online, we're going to come and get you. No one will go uncounted. Thank you. All right.
Now, you've heard that we have a complete count committee, but we have 3 people that serve as our active co-chairs of that committee. So they want to make sure that you know who they are. There are people in this room right now, you might not be on the complete count committee, but have something to offer that you think we need to know more about. These are our co-chairs if you would like to dig deeper. So I want to make sure I introduce them, and then they'll say a few words. We have John Willis, who actually served as the chair of this effort in 2010. Wave to people. I'll give you a moment to come up. He also is a professor at the University of Baltimore. We also have Fagan Harris. He is the CEO of Baltimore Core. Wave to the people if you haven't already. All right. And then behind me we have Felicia Porter, and I want to make sure I have your title right. National Project Director for the Sickle Cell Anemia Association. All right. So without further ado, a few remarks from our great team.
Thank you very much. I'm the septuagenarian in the group and been doing this. I love the census. 40 years ago, I ran enumerators out of my office, and 30 years ago was paying attention as a city resident and as an activist here. 20 years ago, we had created a statewide organization. I was intelligent enough to hire Dr. Washington to help in that occasion, and now she's my senator, so that makes me very proud. And 10 years ago, I was asked to co-chair this committee. I want to tell you, new planning director and deputy, and Laurie Feinberg around somewhere, we did a good job 10 years ago, but you guys are starting off in spectacular fortune. You're really doing great. And as Mary said, those estimates that show up in the paper drive me a little bit crazy. Remember, that was an estimate you read. All right? So if we go find everybody, regardless of where they reside, regardless of what they are, you have relatives, tell them to come to Baltimore April 1st, keep them here. All the boaters on the cruises, dock everybody, find everybody, count everybody, and we'll be able to do it. It's our job to figure out the mechanics and to provide you with assistance, but we're going to be able to use these. And it's not just counting yourself, it's counting everybody you see and know. And we've done this in the past. You see somebody on the street, have you been counted? Here, let me count you. So we're going to bring this down next year this time to that level, and everybody counts.
Hi everyone, so I'm Felicia Porter. I'm one of the co-chairs for the Complete Count Committee. When Stephanie actually told me about this position, I was like, let's do it, challenge accepted. I see things and I read things in Baltimore all the time, and so as Senator Washington was saying, this is a time for Baltimore to actually step up, for us to be resilient, for us to know who we are. I'm Baltimore born, raised, and educated, and I'm very proud of that. And so I look forward to working with each and every one of you. Non-traditionally, traditionally, you see me in the market, say fee, count me. This is an opportunity for us to really bring back federal dollars to the great city of Baltimore. And so I look forward to working with each and every one of you. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Fagan Harris and I'm one of the active co-chairs. Senator Washington said something very important. The census takes place 12 months from now. We actually know when this is going to happen. We have a deadline. We've got 12 months to work our heart out. We've got 12 months to organize. We've got 12 months, frankly, to shock the state and to shock the country and to shock the world that Baltimore City is going to have the most equitable census in the country. And so what does that mean? What does it mean to have the most equitable census in the country? I'll highlight 2 things for you. One, in a year where there's a real threat to have questions on the census that frighten and suppress the count, that frighten entire communities, entire demographics of people, it means reaching them through trusted messengers, telling them that we love them, we care about them, they're a part of our community. It means making sure that they're counted and that we don't let that suppression occur. And while it's fantastic that we have this as a tool, we live in a city where a lot of people don't have access to this tool. And so this can't come at the expense of offline organizing and getting into neighborhoods and getting into communities and working with associations, climbing apartment building staircases, going to the retirement home, and to find those folks just out of reach and to make sure that they count too. Because what does that mean? That's $1,800 a person per year for the next decade, which adds up to tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars for things like Head Start, for Medicaid, right? That means shorter lines for childcare. That means shorter lines for healthcare. That means shorter lines for all the services that are absolutely essential for the most vulnerable people among us. And so all of you are very, very integral, special, and critical to this process because you are absolutely the front line of people reaching out to folks that we run the risk of not reaching. So this kickoff tonight is a kickoff of Team Baltimore. It's a team that's going to come together and get it done and to formulate the backbone of this effort. So let's show them how we do it. Let's do the most equitable census in the history of this city. Let's get it done. Thank you very much.
Now, last but certainly not least, how many people know someone looking for a job? Maybe you're looking for a job. Don't be ashamed to raise your hands. Yes, yes. So we know that the census is going to be a big hiring effort across the nation, but we have one of our most, I guess you're the Maryland coordinator, Julius Mina. Please come. He's going to discuss with his counterpart, Dwayne Burton. In the back, opportunities for you to get involved formally.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. So I am Julius Valentine Mina. I'm a U.S. Census Bureau on the federal level. I thank all the people that just spoke because they hit it on the nail. There's things that we know right now. We know it's a year out. We know there's $675 billion on the line per year. Billion, and I'll say that again, $675 billion a year on the line. We know that this money is going to be used for roads, Head Start, schools, like all the things that we want to change can come from this money. So we know that today. But we know we can't do this effort without you, right? So the Philadelphia region, which is what Baltimore is a part of, is hiring over 500,000 people. So 675 billion. Well, Philadelphia region, 500,000 people are being hired, but I'll tell you why But I'll tell you why, right? We realized from 10 years ago there's some things we did not do right. One of the things is the people knocking on doors did not look like the community, right? So if we want to increase this outreach to make sure that the people who traditionally are hard to count, we need the trusted voices. So we want to hire from the community, right? We want to come to you and say, hey, tell us what we're doing wrong, right? Some other things that have changed. We are going online, but you can call in because we understand broadband is an issue, right? You can still fill it out via the paper form. Right, so 3 ways to fill it out this time. So although things are getting more difficult, we're trying to make it easier, right? 3 ways to fill it out. In addition to that, the census form is going to be available in 13 languages, right? 13 languages, because we understand language is an issue. Wow. Can we get medical help? Is there a medical professional in the building, please? Can you please step outside the taco stand, please? Medical help.
Is there a doctor in the room? Any nurse practitioners or nurses or health professionals? Please meet outside near the taco stand. Thank you.
So while we're tending to that, I do want to say that the reason why I'm so passionate about this effort, when I moved to Baltimore, I lived in 21217. Right? I currently live on 21202. So I am not a random federal person just here on official duty. I'm here because I care about this city. I want us to get counted. I know what we need. I worked at Morgan State, went to University of Baltimore. So Baltimore is going to put this on the map. We're going to do it right, and we're going to put it in a way that when we look at 10 years from now, we're going to watch the city change in a way we've never seen. So let's shape the future. Maryland counts, Baltimore counts. Let's get it done. Thank you.
All right.
And thank you all for coming. On to 2020.